You know, there used to be a certain rhythm to love, didn't there? Like a familiar song, everyone sort of knew the steps. A boy meets a girl, or, well, anyone meets anyone, really. There'd be phone calls, maybe a movie. It felt predictable, like a well-worn path. But now, um, feels like the music's changed completely. The beat's different. Welcome to the deep dive. We dig into compelling sources, pull out the key insights, and help you make sense of it all. Today, we're tackling a really fascinating piece about how relationships, maybe even love itself, are being, well, redefined right now. Our source is an article from the Boca Raton Tribune. It just came out September 8th, 2025. The Shape of Love Today by Claudia Catherine. So our mission today is to unpack this article, understand the forces reshaping our connections, and figure out what it means for you in this liquid world the author talks about. Okay, let's get into it. This piece really struck me. It talks about that steady, predictable boy meets girl, phone calls, Friday movie, and how that's been replaced by the soft, constant hum from the phone in your hand. It's a huge shift, isn't it? More than just tech.
It really is. What's fascinating is how Catherine immediately puts her finger on this core tension.
Yeah.
So you've got the comfort of the old path, that nostalgia, versus the undeniable pull of new tech and changing social norms. This isn't just about dating apps, it's deeper. It's about how we form fundamental human bonds. Like she says, quoting someone wise, we live in liquid times. Even love flows and changes shape, refusing to hold still. That liquid idea is key. It suggests everything's less fixed, more fluid, which is maybe freeing, but also perhaps unsettling.
Definitely unsettling. And she paints that contrast so vividly,
Yeah.
imagining the past, seeing a couple holding hands, and you could just imagine the whole story right then and there. Like you instantly knew the plot, then boom, cut to today. That soft, constant hum from the phone. It's like the big story dissolved into tiny digital bits. How does that hum, that constant digital presence, actually change things?
Well, that's where the liquid times metaphor really works. If love itself is fluid, then the containers, the rituals, the expectations, the definition of a relationship, they have to change too. The article points straight at dating apps. Bright, hopeful faces on Tinder and Hinge. It's this seemingly endless catalog of people. An ocean of possibility, right? Something totally unimaginable not that long ago. Like a supermarket of souls, almost.
A supermarket of souls. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And the article captures that feeling of infinite possibility online. It sounds great at first, but then she immediately points to the paradox underneath. It comes with a nervous kind of hope. That phrase really resonated. She talks about connections feeling thin, like tracing paper, that awful feeling when conversations start strong, full of promise, and then just vanish. Poof! A ghost in the machine, as she calls it. It's that cycle. Excitement, hope then, fizzle. You put energy in, and it just disappears.
Exactly. And this, let's call it digital dilution, it really highlights the modern paradox of choice, doesn't it? Not just in dating, but everywhere. When you have infinite options, it can actually make it harder to commit, to really savor one thing. You're always looking. So it makes you wonder, and this is a question for you listening, are we finding more deep connections or just more connections, more fleeting ones? The article seems to suggest that while the quantity of potential partners is huge, the quality or depth can feel thin. That nervous kind of hope nails the anxiety of it all. Always wondering if someone better is just one more swipe away.
Yeah, that constant low hum of anxiety. So many people feel that. But then the article pivots, showing how these shifts aren't just online. They're actively redrawing the maps of our actual lives, our families. This is where it gets really interesting. She mentions whispers, not scandalous anymore, just matter of fact, about new ways people are arranging their lives. It's not just dating, it's living. And she gives this very specific example. There's a teacher, lovely woman, husband she adores, and a partner she sees on weekends. They all had dinner together. People don't raise an eyebrow anymore. Wow. That's not just tolerance, that's normalization almost. How big a challenge is that to the old scripts?
It's a massive challenge. It shows boundaries dissolving, not just for individuals, but in what the community accepts. It's a real evolution. And the article brings up another trend, especially with younger folks, agamia, which she describes as this quiet choice to step away from the search altogether, finding richness elsewhere, friendships, solitude. And crucially, it's framed not as failure, but as a choice to find life elsewhere. That's pretty radical, isn't it? It pushes back against generations of social pressure, saying romantic partnership is the only goal. What do you think is driving that? Is it swipe fatigue? A desire for autonomy? Or just realizing fulfillment comes in many forms?
It feels like all of the above, maybe. Like pushing back against the pressure to fit a mold. But okay, amidst all this fluidity, these new choices, even choosing not to choose romance, the article spots something interesting. A new kind of anchor. This is key. It suggests that even if the form changes, the need for security is still there. She says couples are talking not about the future, but about the agreement, the pact, using language that grandparents wouldn't have needed, like, what are our boundaries? This is what I need to feel safe. This is our understanding. It's not casual chat. It's like a conscious negotiation, almost like an emotional contract.
Hmm. And if you look at the bigger picture, these conscious pacts, these carefully drawn maps, they make perfect sense as a response to the uncertainty of liquid times. The article frames it like, okay, if the world outside is unpredictable, if the old rules don't work, let's at least be incredibly clear with each other. It's proactive emotional safety, rather than just relying on assumptions or traditions that might not fit anymore. It really changes what commitment looks like. It moves from assumed cultural commitment to explicit negotiated commitment, which, by the way, requires a lot more self-awareness and communication than maybe was needed when rules were clearer.
Absolutely. Commitment as a negotiation, not a fixed point. And this rethinking, it stretches right into the idea of family itself. The article says, flat out, the very shape of a family seems to be up for discussion. No single picture anymore. And the examples she uses are so everyday, so powerful because they show this isn't just theory, it's life. Like the happy couple, married a decade but keep their own apartments, preserving their own space. That challenges the idea that you must live together. Or the two fathers at the school bake sale, their daughter proudly showing off the cupcakes. Just a simple, normal scene. And I love the bit about the successful woman in her 40s, life full of travel and friends, who quietly says she never wanted children and there's no apology, only peace. These aren't just stories, they're snapshots of people breaking molds, finding their own way to happiness.
Exactly. And what's key is how the article presents these, not as weird exceptions, but just as part of the landscape now, accepted, normal. It points to a broader cultural shift, doesn't it? Where personal fulfillment, living authentically, is maybe becoming more important than sticking to old scripts. It shows the traditional family model isn't the only one. It's expanding to fit a wider range of experiences and choices, celebrating self-determination. Like that couple with separate apartments, maybe that autonomy actually strengthens their bond because they keep their individual selves intact.
Right, it's about finding what works for that specific relationship. But, the article doesn't shy away from the downsides. There's a quiet toll, it says. It's honest about that. Under the bright, curated photos on Instagram, there's often that low hum of anxiety and the pressure. It's not just to be happy, but to have a relationship that isn't just happy, but also looks happy. It's like love becomes this social currency. Its value depends partly on how you display it. Your relationship isn't just for you anymore. It's part of your public brand, something you perform online. Like, if it wasn't posted, did it really count?
That's a really critical observation. It speaks directly to the psychological weight of living in this digital fluid world. The article mentions the loneliness that can creep in, that awful paradox of having endless options but feeling utterly alone. It's profound how the tools meant to connect us can actually make us feel more isolated if the connections stay shallow. And it talks about a kind of narcissism born not of vanity, but of the constant need to build and present a version of yourself that's worthy of a swipe or a like. It's not necessarily mean-spirited. It's almost a coping mechanism for online life. But constantly performing, that's exhausting. It can disconnect you from yourself. It really makes you ask, is the image of love starting to replace the feeling of love?
That's a scary thought, isn't it? Prioritizing the image over the reality. So, okay, we've covered a lot. The old rhythms fading, the digital hum, the conscious packs, diverse families, but also the anxiety, the performance. What does it all mean for us? Trying to navigate this. The article boils it down to that core question. In this strange new world, what is it we really want from each other? It admits the rules are gone, the paths are overgrown. That's freeing, maybe, but also kind of terrifying. Does she offer any, guiding light?
She does, and it's actually quite a beautiful grounding thought that brings it back to basics, despite all the changes. The article suggests that maybe the answer is simple and hasn't changed at all. It's, perhaps what we're all still looking for, whether it's for one night or a lifetime, with one person or more, is a moment of genuine connection, a flicker of real understanding, a little bit of kindness to hold on to before we're swept away again. It's a powerful ending, I think, suggesting that beneath all the shifting forms and digital noise, the core human need for real connection, for empathy, for being seen, that hasn't changed. It's like an invitation to look past the performance and the endless scrolling and focus on that fundamental human thing.
Wow. Yeah, that really lands. What an insightful journey this article took us on. We went from that old, predictable rhythm to the constant hum of the phone. We looked at conscious pacts replacing unspoken rules and saw how families are changing shape, becoming wonderfully diverse. But we also faced the anxiety, the loneliness, that pressure to perform love, not just live it. So as you think about all this, about your own life and connections, here's something to consider. In a world where love can look like almost anything, what does it actually take for a connection to feel real, to feel lasting for you? Is finding that genuine connection, that flicker of understanding, is it harder now or maybe easier because the old paths are overgrown, the rules are gone? And what kind of pacts, spoken or unspoken, do you need in your relationships to feel truly safe, truly understood? We really hope this deep dive into the shape of love today has given you some valuable things to think about as you navigate your own way through these, well, fascinating and definitely liquid times.